presented by Honda. At the Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Well, you can see Brian Gorman on the right, the umpire. He's the crew chief, and they're talking to John Gibbons, and it looks as though they're talking about the phone. You see the first phone is the video replay phone. There's also a phone to the bullpen. Then there's a phone to the press box for the media relations. So there's something going on with the communications, and obviously we're not really familiar with what it is at this point. Well, Bob Melvin and the Oakland A's have won the first 2 games of this series. They're having a terrific swing through the AL East. Let's take a look at their lineup. Chris Davis down in that 4th spot. He's the DH. He leads the major leagues. Now listen to this. He leads the major leagues with 98 home runs since the start of 2016. That might surprise a lot of people, but he's got a lot of power. And right behind him, the big first baseman Matt Olson in his last 5 games has gone 6 for 18 with 3 home runs and 5 RBIs. This is a very powerful lineup, but they are prone to the strikeout.
So you're going to have to be on your game, and the Blue Jays turn to Sam Gaviglio, making his first start of the season, first as a Blue Jay and first start since September of last season versus the Chicago White Sox. Made his major league debut right here on this field last May. There are his numbers in 2 games, 1-0, 208 earned run average. And over at first base, I think we're trying to figure out what's going on, why the delay. It has to be some type of communication problem.
Yeah, again, that's Brian Gorman, a crew chief. He's on the headsets talking to New York right now, so there might be some issues with the video replay. We had a similar situation last homestand where the communication was not working properly, but both managers have been informed, so there might be something to do with no video. Now Brian Gorman looking up the phone number of the review.
Or what you do in these situations.
So whatever the situation is, it has something to do with the video review. And Brian Gorman now has been satisfied that that's the best they can do at this point. And if we get any more information about it, we'll keep you up to date. So this is game 3 of a 4-game series. As we mentioned, Oakland won the first 2 games, 10-5 on Thursday night, 3-1 yesterday. And the bullpen has been terrific. The Oakland starters have managed just 3 1/3 in the first 2 games. So Sam Gaviglio making his first start for the Blue Jays this season. He is ready. Here's the first pitch of the game. We are underway. It is a strike. Good crowd expected here this afternoon despite the rain outside.
Work quickly, throw strikes. That's what Sam Gaviglio does. In the open, we were talking about what's his best pitch. Well, he throws a lot of strikes and he keeps the ball down.
Well, I tell you, you got to love his tempo. That's what baseball's all about. Sam doesn't need a pitch clock. He's out there throwing it. His job is to throw the ball over, put the ball in play, and keep everybody on the field engaged. Sam is 27 years old, former 5th-round pick of the Cardinals in 2011 out of Oregon State. He still lives in Southern Oregon. Foul back. Marcus Semien hits that breaking ball.
Well, fastball, slider. Got a little bit of a curveball. He splits it. He's got a split finger fastball that he will use as his changeup. Keeps the ball on the edges. And keep it down. Going to go back outside.
You gotta love it. Semien didn't like the call, but Sam Gaviglio uses that swing back fastball for the first strikeout of the ball game.
Russell Martin set up just a little bit further outside, which was interesting. And then he said, okay, bring that 2-seamer back and I'll frame it up for you. And he does just that to get the strikeout.
One away, Matt Joyce, the left fielder. Joyce was 0 for 4 in the game last night. He goes after the first pitch. White Smith Jr. broke back. Now he comes in, makes the catch. When you throw strikes, hitters have a tendency to swing. Take a look at the rest of the defense behind Gaviglio. Smith, Pilar, and Teoscar Hernandez back in right field, and that's good news for the Blue Jays.
Yes, it is. He played in Wednesday's game, hurt that back during the game, aggravated it in the 8th inning on a swing, but he finished the game. It tightened up on him. He missed the last couple of days. He took some BP today. He was telling me he was running around. Says it feels good. He goes, I want to get back in the lineup. He's back there today.
Russ Martin liked that pitch. It was a ball. This is Matt Chapman. He did not start in the game. Yesterday came in defensively. The A's have 4 players that are in the top 10 in games played. Chapman, Olson, Simeon, and Davis are all playing in their 46th game of the season. They're everyday players.
Yeah, and they're playing 4 straight games on turf, so Bob Melvin wants to give them some time off. Chapman was off yesterday. Jed Lowry is off today.
Sean Manaea is anxious to take the mound. He has had a little bit of a rough patch of late. He's allowed 4 runs in each of his last 3 starts. 1-2 to Chapman. Off the plate outside. We talk about pitchers and everything they do on the mound is a presentation to the batter, and Gaviglio has presented a very positive image out on the mound, working very quickly.
Really trusting Russ Martin. He's not shaking him off. Get it and go. Put that pressure on those hitters.
Chris Davis, the DH, waits on deck. It's a 3-2 count. Another fastball. High fly ball to left field. Smith in front of the scoreboard, gets there. Nice inning for Sam Gaviglio. Takes him 12 pitches to get through the first inning. 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout. Sean Manaea will take the mound for Oakland. Leadoff, he has done very well as a leadoff hitter. He's got 3 doubles and 2 home runs, batting top of the order for the Blue Jays, and that's where he's at to start this ball game. Right behind him, Josh Donaldson, the former A's, as well against the Oakland. Start a couple of hits, including a home run and 2 RBIs against Sean Manaea. And then Kevin Pilar, all he's done this season, he's hit 18 home runs. That's tied for the most in the major leagues. And he has hit over 300 to this point in the season. Hopefully he'll be able to continue that.
They get the big lefty today, Sean Manaea. There are his numbers: 5-4, 235 earned run average. That earned run average 7th best in the American League. You say, well, how do you lose 4 games with an ERA like that? He's received 2 runs of support or fewer in each of those 4 losses. He's another guy who works very quickly. He gets it and go. He's averaging 13 pitches per inning, the fewest pitches per inning in baseball.
Here's the first pitch to Teoscar. He cuts on it and misses. We mentioned Teoscar tweaked his back in that rainy game on Wednesday afternoon at Citi Field against the Mets. He stayed in the game, but obviously it was bothering him, and he missed the first 2 games of this series. He hits it high and deep, but foul down the left side.
I ran into him today down in the clubhouse, and I said, Teoscar, how do you know when you're ready that you can play? He says, I've been running. I said, outside? He goes, no, in the hallways here. He was sweating and he was out of breath. I said, you've been running in the halls? He goes, yeah. And my back is loosened up. And he was doing some stretching. He was going to go hit. He went and hit, said he was okay. I thought maybe he'd be on a treadmill or running outside, something like that. I said, nah, I'm just going to run in the hallways.
It's a long clubhouse. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Hernandez. Sean Manaea is now 26 years old. He was drafted originally in the first round by the Kansas City Royals in 2013 out of Indiana State University, which is more known for basketball than it is for baseball. But he was traded from Kansas City in July of 2015 for Ben Zobrist. Certainly that turned out well for the Royals. Reaches for that and drives it into center. Dustin Fowler, the center fielder, makes the catch. 1 away. Now Oakland has Joyce and Piscotty around Fowler, and Fowler's been kind of up and down so far in this series, but it's the first time he's played here at Rogers Center.
Yeah, and he's getting better and better, and you can see more comfortable each day. He's going to be their center fielder of the future. He was involved in all 3 of their scoring opportunities in yesterday's game. He's got some speed. He's just 23 years old. And it looks like he's going to be manning center field for a long time for the Athletics.
Here's Josh Donaldson. He goes after the first pitch. I love this. When pitchers throw strikes, hitters get up there in the air ready to swing. The games move along. Everybody's engaged. Infielders are on their toes. And Manaea, he's not shy about throwing strikes either.
There was a time where he was throwing that fastball 97 miles an hour. He says, I have learned to slow things down and start using that two-seamer a little bit more, start using that changeup just a little bit more.
Allison drives it into center field, and Fowler is there once again. 2 fly balls to center.
He'd get into trouble and he'd try to power his way through lineups. Now he just uses that sinker and that two-seamer. He'll throw the fastball 53% of the time, and it averages about 93. Change up and slider, and he can sink it when he needs to. I mean, you watch these young pitchers when they come up, and the ones that realize they don't have to throw it through the hitter to get outs, those are the important ones.
Justin Smoke hits it sharply off the shortstop's glove. He was swinging on the first pitch. Simeon has committed 8 errors so far this season. They still haven't given us a ruling on that one. If I'm the scorekeeper, I call that an error.
He had time, I thought, to get in front of this ball. It comes up on him.
Smoke is credited with a base hit, but that's a play Major League shortstops have to make. He got to it in plenty of times, but it's a 2-out single for Smoke. Fastball just off the plate inside. Home plate umpire is Shane Livensparger, and he's got a very conservative strike zone.
Yeah, so you got 2 pitchers who throw a lot of strikes. I think the hitters know all about that.
And there's Solarte, a ball on the strike. Solarte has never faced Manaea. Line drive to left field. Joyce is there. Another quick inning. Both pitchers off to a good start. Manaea, just like Gaviglio, 12 pitches in his inning.
yesterday before the game against Oakland that the Blue Jays had a players-only meeting. Afterwards, Josh Donaldson said it was a very positive step in the right direction. Donaldson said a number of the players got some things out that they wanted to focus on. The third baseman believes in the last 10 or 12 days or so, the Blue Jays found themselves in a bit of a rut. They were going up against some teams who were playing real well, and Donaldson told me, quote, "We have to do a better job of matching that intensity and that focus." Donaldson said, "We're not down, we're not feeling sorry for ourselves," but the Blue Jays did outline to one another what it'll take as individuals and as a team to find success, and that, Donaldson said, is what the team meeting boiled down to, guys.
Well, every once in a while, players will have team meetings, and it's generally the veteran players. And you know what? There's always a guy on the team that feels like he's comfortable in speaking out. And I imagine Josh is that guy on the Blue Jays that could say, okay, we need to talk about this, fellas. We're not playing well. And we can't quit now. It's middle of May. We got a lot of baseball ahead of us, and we got to dig our heels in and play as a team.
I love what he said a couple of years ago. This isn't the tri-league. It's the succeed league. Same message.
That was down in Houston when they had a team meeting, and everybody said, well, we're playing pretty good. We're trying. He said, this isn't a tri-league. And I agree with that 100%. This is Chris Davis. He has had some start to his season once again. Davis leads the major leagues with 98 home runs since the start of 2016. He's got 13 home runs so far this season.
We mentioned that Gaviglio has faced Oakland in the past. He started against them in July of last season, and one of the batters he had problems with standing at the plate. Chris Davis hit a home run against him.
In the top of the 5th inning, he had a home run. One of 2 home runs that Gaviglio surrendered in that 5th inning. Bruce Maxwell, the catcher, also had a home run in the 5th inning. Gaviglio gave up 3 runs in the 1st inning and then 4 more runs in the 5th inning.
He's done after 4 2/3 innings and 7 earned runs.
Gaviglio gets Davis to strike out. We talked about the A's and their strikeouts. They've got 3 hitters in the top 10 in strikeouts. Yeah, they've got a lot of power, but they will also strike out a lot.
Well, this strikeout was set up by fastballs away and then finish him off with a slider. That one off the plate.
Bob Melvin knows that there's going to be a lot of swing and misses in his lineup, and they just have a lot of guys that go up there with one thing on their mind, hitting the ball hard. Matt Olson has struck out 54 times this season. Chapman has struck out 50 times. Now Davis has struck out 51 times.
Sometimes you have to have a trade-off, home runs and strikeouts. What you really would like to have is balance. Put the ball in play and still hit home runs. Maybe you don't hit as many, but you don't strike out as much. There's just nothing happens when you strike out. You don't put the ball in play, there's a chance for an error or the ball to find the hole into the outfield. Strikeout, nothing happens. 10 strikeout games at the plate. The Athletics have had plenty of already this season.
Well, the Blue Jays are right there with them. They've got 19. Blue Jays had 15 strikeouts in the game last night. Ground ball. Urshela, the shortstop, throws out Olson.
Let's take a look at what Sam Gaviglio throws, and it's a simple type of arsenal that he will throw. Fastball, he's got to establish the fastball, and he can move it and put it on the corners. Slider, curveball, and that changeup, he splits his fingers. It's like a splitter. It's a great weapon to use with that fastball and slider.
Steven Piscotty goes after the first pitch and rips it through the middle into center field. That's the first base runner for Oakland. A 2-out single here in the 2nd.
And when you get that reputation as a strike thrower and a first pitch fastball type of pitcher, batters are going to be ready. He gets the fastball middle, hits it right back through the middle.
Piscotty did not start in the game yesterday. He played on Thursday night. He was 1 for 5 in that game. Here's Dustin Fowler. He was the hitting hero of the game yesterday. Fowler hit his first big league home run in the 3rd inning off of Marco Estrada. He would later on double in the 7th inning and drive in a run. So he finished up 2 for 3 with a couple of runs scored and 2 RBIs.
Also had a stolen base in that game.
Fowler came to the A's in that Sonny Gray trade a year ago. And now they are happy he is in the big leagues. You see what he did at AAA Nashville. Ground ball. Donaldson will go across the diamond. Gaviglio gives up a 2-out single with nothing more. The Oakland A's strand a base runner. Will go to the bottom of the 2nd. No score. And 3, but lately it's been a real struggle for them. They've dropped 6 of their last 8 games. And when you look at the months from April 19th to May 19th, they've gone 10-18.
Yeah, 10-18 the average, and they haven't hit really well with runners in scoring position. Pitching has had an ERA over 5. They've played some good teams, Boston and Seattle, Minnesota, Boston a couple of times, and the Yankees. So, you know, it's a rough patch right here for the Blue Jays. And what you have to do is you just have to come and just got to figure out ways to win games. You're not at full strength. You're missing a couple of starters in your rotation.
Kevin Pillar goes after the first pitch and lifts a fly ball to left field.
I think everybody just has to pull it together and just do a little bit of everything to help your team win when you're down a few players.
Well, I think the one thing, and they talked about the meeting yesterday, is, hey, we have to figure out a way to do our job. Each individual. That's all you got to do. Do what you do and do it well. And make sure that you're giving 100% at what you do. Don't worry about what the rest of the guys are doing. And if you do that, then the team will come together. Russell Martin takes the first pitch strike. That's a strike. I'm sorry, but that is a strike. And Jonathan Lucroy, he's a little bit perplexed by the strike zone so far. There's a breaking ball for a strike. You have 2 pitchers in this game that show you they want to call strikes, so reward them. You get a borderline strike, ring them up. The game is much better when umpires call strikes. I'm not saying you call balls off the plate or 2 balls off the plate strikes, but when they're around the plate, ring them up. And it's a better game.
And the pitchers and the players will react to it.
Wow, that was close to being a fair ball, but Brian Gorman, the veteran crew chief at first base just calmly said, nope, that's a foul ball.
Yeah, and you can't look at that one because it's in front of the umpires, but it looked like Russell. I thought he had extra bases.
Now, that should be a strike. And you make good pitches, and Manaea has been around the plate, same as Gaviglio.
Yeah, both of them have the reputation of working quickly, throwing strikes, keeping it around the plate.
Martin walks. Breaking ball was off the plate outside with first walk issued by Manaea. Bob Melvin, he's a former catcher, and he's not been real thrilled about the strike zone in any of these games. Now, he's asking his catcher where that pitch was.
That's exactly.
And he can always tell the umpire, I'm not talking to you. Yeah. I'm talking to my catcher. So here's Kendrys Morales, and obviously it's been a rough start to his season. 14 for 96. That's a 146 average.
And he is going this time with gloves and no glasses. He was wearing the glasses earlier this year. So I asked him about that, and he said, you know, I would see the ball in my swing. I'd see it so well, I'd go and swing, and I'd tighten up just for some reason. He said it feel like my bat was slowing down. And if his last at bat is any indication of his future at bats without the glasses, good things are going to start happening.
Yeah, he lined out to left field in his last at bat when he dropped the glasses. You can see he's just 2 for his last 39. A double and an RBI, and they need him to produce. He's the DH. Two and one now to Morales. Martin at first with the 1-out walk. Off speed pitch, just 82 miles an hour in a good spot, and Morales has gotten a steady diet of breaking balls and changeups.
Low. His batting average on balls low in the strike zone, especially off speed pitches low, has been very low this season. Going to have to either lay off of it or step up, make some kind of adjustment to hit those low pitches.
Manaea with a courtesy throw to first base, just lobbed it over there just to take a break and get back into his routine. 2-2. It goes over there again. He's not very comfortable making that throw to first base. It looks like he just would rather not throw it over to first base.
It looks like he's just trying to get Russell to stop. Russell's walking off the base and he's not stopping. As a pitcher, you can't let that go. There, now he's making him stop.
Another pitch that looks like it's a strike, and you can see Jonathan Lucroy talking to his manager in the dugout, and now Bob Melvin's talking to the umpire. 3-2.
Bob can't believe it.
Yeah, he's really frustrated. That is a very small strike zone. Martin at first. He's not running. Fouled off.
Manaea's changeup has been good, and his two-seamer he'll throw now when he's in these types of situations. Just try to soften things up instead of overthrowing and walking guys. Throw a two-seamer. He's looking for a ground ball. And Russell is making him aware that he's over there.
You know, Manaea does a pretty good job of neutralizing the running game. There have only been 3 attempts against him all season long. This is his 10th start.
He's been having some fun with him. Jumping off there, moving around.
Ground ball to third. Chapman to second for 1, and it's off the glove of Pinder. Martin is headed for third. Morales will reach first, But Chapman had a little trouble getting the ball out of his glove, and when he threw to second, it was high to the first base side of second. That should be an air charge to the third baseman. It's a fielder's choice to Morales, and the air on the third baseman, his 6th of the season.
He had some time. It's a two-hopper to the third baseman to his backhand. You can see as he was trying to take it out of his glove, he didn't get the good proper grip that he needed to on that baseball. It's like he threw him a changeup that soars on him. Off the glove of Pinder, the second baseman. Blue Jays, they got to take advantage of this error.
So it's 1st and 3rd with 1 out for the number 8 hitter, Dwight Smith Jr. The left side of the infield, Simeon and Chapman have now committed 14 errors. And that was a routine double play ball.
Yes.
Should have got Benaya out of the inning. Dwight Smith Jr. 5 for 14 since coming up from AAA. 3 doubles. He has an RBI. That's a little flare into center field. Matt Joyce, the left fielder, is going to make the catch, and Martin will hold at third. We saw the umpires talking to both managers before the start of this game. And originally it was thought that it was a video replay situation, but it's been corrected. There was a pregame technical issue involving the dugout phones, not with the replay system. This does not have an impact on the manager challenge system, so everything is normal with the manager challenge system and video replay, so that is intact. So now there are 2 outs for Gio Urshela. He goes after the first pitch. Urshela drove in the only Blue Jay run yesterday. He had a base hit to right field in the 5th. It was off of Josh Lucas, and that actually knocked Lucas out of the game. He was terrific. Came on in relief of the injured pitcher Brian Anderson. Lucas went 2 2/3 innings, allowed just 2 hits. They both came in that 5th inning. He struck out 7. Anderson hurt his shoulder. He's since been placed on the DL. And a little side note to the Lucas appearance, he didn't show up at the ballpark till 6:45.
That's too bad that he couldn't have been given the win right there. 3 2/3 innings, 7 punch outs. Danny Coulombe got the win in yesterday's ball game.
So Lucas shows up at 6:45, and before you know it, he's in the ball game. He barely had time to get dressed. One ball, 2 strikes on Gio Urshela. There goes the runner Morales at first, and he will have his 2nd stolen base of the season.
How about that? 2 for 2 in stolen bases. They send the runner there just to try and draw a throw, but the A's weren't going to have any of that. Even if he didn't have to go down and block that ball, he wasn't going to throw to second base.
So Martin drew a walk. He reached third on the air by the third baseman. Now Morales is in scoring position as well. 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to the right side. Olson will go to the bag, and Urshela's retired. Benaya strands a pair. So the error doesn't factor in. We've played 2 complete here with no score.
Sam Gaviglio was told he was getting the start today. Some members of the coaching staff approached him and said, "Sam, be ready for everything." Gaviglio said, "That's what they want me to do, so that's what I'm going to do." Now, Gaviglio was the first to admit that his spring training with the Royals didn't go very well, that his timing was off, that he was rushing down the mound. He said that wasn't allowing himself to make the pitches he wanted. When he came to Toronto, Gaviglio knew he needed to throw and get innings in, and says the plan the team put in place upon acquiring him allowed him to do exactly that, guys.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. He went down and made 5 starts in Buffalo. He pitched very well. He didn't have a decision, but his ERA was under 2. And you know what? He's throwing strikes, and he works quickly. And it's one thing when you're out there, you keep everybody engaged, and
Well,
Biagini will make a start tomorrow.
He's the kind of pitcher, Gaviglio, that has to get his innings in. You can't sit around for a while and then say, okay, go out there and throw this ball on the corner. He needs his innings. He needs constant work. And he's a veteran now. He's been around for a couple of years. He knows himself, and he knows what he needs to do to be successful. Got to be careful with this guy. Lately, he's been on a roll offensively.
Squibs that one off the end of the bat. Lucroy will be retired. One away. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball. Top of the third, Sam Gaviglio retires Jonathan Lucroy on a weak grounder to the first baseman. Here's Chad Pinder, who's making his second start of the season at second base. Pinder has started in left, center, right, third, and now second. He's a right-handed version of Ben Zobrist, playing all over the place.
Yeah, if he switch hit, he beat Ben Zobrist, being able to play all over. He gives you great effort every single day also. Plays the game hard. Picked up Matt Chapman at third base yesterday.
You know what? I appreciate what you said about Pinder, but that shouldn't be the exception. It should be the norm. Plays the game hard, ready to play every day, goes out ready to work, and that should be the standard by which Major League players are held. 1-2 now to Pinder. Breaking ball hit in the air. Not that deep. Dwight Smith Jr. waits on it, and it comes down, and Pinder's retired 2 away. You know, catchers appreciate pitchers like Gaviglio. You sit back there and you throw down a sign, he's ready to pitch, he's thinking about a pitch, he sees it, confirms what he's thinking, and then there's a rhythm to the game. The game is a much better game for everybody.
At times that gets lost. What's the saying? You're sitting in a rocking chair back there behind the plate, just receiving the ball.
Now that's a good pitch, Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien has more at-bats than anybody in baseball. He leads Major League Baseball with the most at-bats. Everyday player. We talked about how they have 4 everyday players that absolutely play every single day.
And that's why Bob Melvin wants to try that and give them a blow in this series. You're playing on turf. Jed Lowry's off today. Matt Chapman was off tomorrow. I wonder if Semien might have the day off tomorrow. Give him just a little bit of a blow.
Reaches for that breaking ball. Another result of throwing a lot of pitches around the strike zone is you get hitters to chase, like that last pitch. The third pitcher's off the plate, but because Gaviglio's throwing so many strikes, everybody's anticipating another good pitch. One and two. He got a piece of it to stay alive. Foul tipped it. Gaviglio had that pitch on his mind. He shook to get to that breaking ball.
Yeah, Russell was trying different things. They struck Semien out his last time up, his first time up, on a fastball. Remember the two-seamer on the outside corner. They didn't want to go back there that time because they had already shown him that. Now they're going to go slider away.
He reaches for it, pokes it down the right field line, and that is a fair ball. And it bounces into the seats. He just reached and poked it down the right side for a 2-out double. Didn't overswing, cut his swing down with 2 strikes and put the ball in play.
Love that 2-strike approach right there. You mentioned that they are prone for strikeouts, but when you make that type of adjustment with 2 strikes and able to keep the ball fair down the right field line, your batting average is just going to go up. No chance for Hernandez to catch that ball or play it off the wall.
Matt Joyce flying out to left field his first time up. Off the plate inside for ball 1. See Joyce with just 8 RBIs all season long. He has 122 at bats. Wilson hasn't had many productive at bats for sure. Bouncing ball. Urshela from short throws Joyce out, and a 2-out double is stranded on base. Nice play by the shortstop. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. Still no score.
Pats knocking off Hamilton to open the MasterCard Memorial Cup today. After the ball game, Swift Current and Acadie Bathurst, the winners of the Dub, the winners of the Q, getting after it. 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Sportsnet and Sportsnet 1. Buck.
Great hockey action, and make sure you check it out. And an opportunity to watch those youngsters go to work. Couple of pitchers throwing a lot of strikes. We have just 3 hits in this ball game, and they have been working quickly and working very efficiently. So for the Blue Jays, it'll be the leadoff man, Teoscar Hernandez. Hernandez, Donaldson, then Smoke. Pat, you made a great point about Manaea and how he's changed his philosophy as pitching. He had a big fastball, but he wasn't enjoying the success he wanted as a starter. So now he throws more quality pitches like that changeup.
I think he'll last longer in ball games also. His fastball when he first signed was 97, 98. He would reach back and throw it as hard as he can. Now he's softening up to get through these innings. He was talking about his last start, and his last start was at Boston. He ended up throwing 6 innings and giving up 3 earned runs, and there were times where there were a lot of runners on base, and he found himself having to back off. He said, I'd step off the rubber and take a couple of deep breaths and just visualize what I wanted to do and just calm things down and slow things down. And instead of trying to throw the ball through the catcher, took a little something off, and he had success against the Red Sox.
You know what else he does that you don't see much anymore? He has a windup. And when you have a windup, you're able to develop some momentum without pitching from a static starting point. But it's a classic windup, and he'll go over his head. He takes his time to gather. There's a flow and a rhythm about his delivery. That one got away from him, but nowadays you see so many starters. I mean, they flat out pitch out of the stretch the whole game.
Basically.
When you do that, you don't develop your legs. They're not underneath you as much as a guy that has a windup and gets into his legs the way Minaya does. Fly ball to center. Fowler backing up a few steps. He's in front of the warning track, and he makes the catch. Another thing that Minaya does that you want from your starter is he doesn't throw many pitches. You can see he's top of the league in fewest pitches per innings pitched.
And you're going to be around a long time in the ball game when you limit the information you give to the batter and you throw quality pitches. I mean, there's some studs on that list right there. Corey Kluber, David Price. Bartolo Colon can do it a different way. I mean, he's just magical what he does, and Carlos Carrasco. But you're going to be around a long time.
Well, you said something that's very interesting. You said that you don't give the hitter a lot of information. If you're a hitter and you see 4 and 5 pitches every at bat, sooner or later you're going to hit one. But now when you see 2 and 3 pitches during an at bat, you have to make up a decision without a whole lot of information, swing or don't. And Rick Jacoby's always talking to his hitters about, hey, have a look, get a pitch you want to see. Don't be over anxious. Just have a pitch on your mind, and when you see it, turn it loose.
Hitters nowadays like to have a lot of information. I mean, they go through the scouting report, they go through the video, they have their own personal experiences against certain pitchers. So much so that when they get into certain situations, 2-1 early in the game, they have a pretty good idea what pitch is coming.
And I think the reverse is true as well. And we saw it firsthand yesterday when Josh Lucas came into the game. Everybody went to the video pads and said, where's the video on this guy? Oh, we don't have any. Well, Lucas struck out 7. I mean, they're creatures of information. They like information. They like video. They like experience as hitters. Fastball at 92 away. Donaldson strikes out. First strikeout of the afternoon for Minaya.
He's got that in him, that ability to strike out hitters. That was a good one right there. The Super Slow-Mo is brought to you by the Samsung S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined, available now. Josh Donaldson a little bit late on that fastball away.
Justin Smoke has the Blue Jays hit. It was a 2-out single. He hit it off the glove of the shortstop, Marcus Semien. There's a good changeup in a good spot. Bouncing ball, much easier play this time for Semien. He throws to first and Smoke's retired. Blue Jays are down in order in their half of the third. We'll go to the fourth. Still no score. Both pitchers throwing a lot of strikes.
Pride Month with Pride Night in the Blue Jays. The first 20,000 fans will receive that Blue Jays Pride hat on Friday, June 8th, when the Blue Jays are home to the Orioles. It's a 7 o'clock start. BlueJays.com for tickets.
Chance to see the Orioles again and pick up that hat. As the roof is closed here today, it's a little cool outside, 12 degrees with some rain going on. But the crowd has turned out. The Saturday afternoon game. It'll be another Sunday afternoon game tomorrow. Both of the games starting at 1 p.m. local. So Sam Gaviglio will face Matt Chapman, Chris Davis, and Matt Olson. Chapman flied out the left field in the first inning. You throw a lot of strikes, they swing at balls.
Well, and he knows that the Oakland A's have a lot of home run hitters. So how do you diffuse that? You throw softer. Throw softer and out of the strike zone, and maybe they get a little over anxious and start to swing for the fences. And when the swings get long, that's when you can really take advantage of it.
Foul tip. Yes, he did. He went around. So Chapman strikes out. 3 strikeouts in the books for Gaviglio.
3 different pitches. There's the splitter. Sounded like he might have tipped it, but he went around after checking.
Chris Davis struck out on a breaking ball his first time up. 88 miles an hour, fouled back. Davis in that start Gaviglio made last year for the Mariners against Oakland. It was in Seattle, and Oakland scored 3 runs in the top of the first inning. In the 5th inning, Chris Davis hit a home run on a 1-1 pitch. It was a 3-run home run. Another pitch out of the zone, but Gaviglio gets the foul ball.
And just a little bit softer that time. Just messes with your timing.
Another swing and a miss by Davis. He strikes out for a second time.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
Junior Jays Day here all weekend long, today and tomorrow. A lot of the kids get an opportunity to get some special treatment here at Rogers Center. This is big Matt Olson. He grounded out shortstop his first time up. Olson's just 24 years old. He is from Georgia. He went to high school at Parkview High School in Lilburn, Georgia. Another pretty good major league player named Jeff Francoeur went to that same high school. Francoeur was a Gold Glove winner.
Then I bet you he played for East Cobb. That's the great youth baseball program that they have in that Atlanta area.
Yeah, East Cobb's got quite a program at several different age levels where the kids get into the program and they play right up until they're done with high school.
Yeah, Connie Mack baseball.
That's a pretty good pitch. 3-1 now to Olson. You got to be careful. This guy is a guy that really has a lot of power, and he's thinking about one thing. That's hitting it out of the ballpark.
Let's see if they try and elevate a fastball against him. No.
Okay. 3-1. He gets a fastball out over the plate and lines it into right field. A 2-out single. Even with a hitter's count at 3-1. Gaviglio is able to hold the hitter to a single.
They want that fastball away. It comes back inside. You can see he's a good low ball hitter, just the way his bat tracks through the strike zone.
Stephen Piscotty, the right fielder, had a single right back up the middle, singled into center with 2 outs in the second. Oakland with 3 hits now. Boy, look at the quality pitches that Gaviglio has thrown all afternoon. Rarely does he leave anything over the heart of the plate, but he doesn't throw a lot of pitches that were way off the plate either. He's just got to stay out of the middle, and he understands that.
Yes, yes. Stay out of the middle and keep the ball down.
No, gets away from him there. Might have been the splitter that slipped. Just 15 balls out of 52 pitches around the plate. Even some of those pitches were probably balls, but because Oakland was in a swing mode, they chased some pitches off the plate.
Some of them looked like they were strikes that were called balls too. So he's been good so far. You just never know when, you know, you get to an organization and it clicks. I mean, he spent some time with the Cardinals, the Mariners, Kansas City, who needs pitching right now. Let him go. The Blue Jays picked him up at the end of spring training, and this was for some depth, and that depth is coming through.
They traded for Gaviglio on March 21st for a player to be named later. Late spring addition to the organization. 1-2. Ball gone off the glove, and Russell was fortunate that ball hit him and stayed right there at home. Pete Walker has to be enjoying this. Pete was that style of pitcher when he was a pitcher. The same kind of guy, threw a lot of strikes, changed speeds, just filled up the strike zone.
With quality. That's what you need. You need some quality pitches.
2-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. Oh, good job by Gaviglio. Russell Martin and Bob Melvin's not thrilled about the strike zone. As you can see, one's outside, and the home plate umpire, Shane Libensbarger, having a little bit of a conversation. But Gaviglio is through the 4th. Some everyday players when you think of their center fielder, Dustin Fowler. Matt Olson, the first baseman, Matt Chapman, the third baseman, and Sean Manaea, the starting pitcher. That's a pretty good core to build around.
Yeah, young players, corner infielders with power, and an outfielder with some speed. But we've been saying that about the Oakland A's for years and years and years. It's really unfortunate. Billy Beane has done an outstanding job of acquiring young players, and they play through their free agency, up to their free agency years, and then unfortunately they have to let them go because they just can't afford them. But they've had a lot of good young players come through this organization over the last couple of decades, and they've won their share of games.
Yeah, there is Solarte lined down to the center fielder, his only time up. He lines this one to left. That's going to be extra bases. Solarte's around first. He's headed for second. Joyce will throw it back in toward third base. And yeah, there was Solarte has a leadoff double, his 8th of the season. Solarte had a couple of hits in the game last night. Off to a good start here this afternoon. This is ripped down the left field line.
On a pitch that's away from him, and on a pitch like that, you can get the head out. Tell yourself, I'm going to pull that ball to left field. Good start for the Jays in the 4th, a double. Now you got to figure out a way to bring him around.
Kevin Pillar, he flied out to left field. Pillar is tied with Mookie Betts for the most doubles in the major leagues. They both have 18. Kevin leads the Jays in hits, batting average, doubles, and shares the lead in triples with 2. He and Teoscar Hernandez have a pair of triples.
I think if you're Kevin Pillar here, you're thinking base hit. It's early enough. I don't want to give yourself up here. Give yourself up, hit the ball to the right side, and advance that runner. I think you're thinking base hit. Let's play for the big inning.
Decent numbers with runners in scoring position. The Blue Jays as a team, we mentioned over the last month's worth of games from April 19th to May 19th, the team has hit just .202 with runners in scoring position after getting off to a real good start in that category. 2-0 to Pillar. Now it's 3-0. Catcher Russell Martin walked first time he faced Manaea. Four straight balls. Second walk issued by Manaea, so it's a double and a walk to start the 4th for the Blue Jays, and you really got to capitalize in this situation.
Looked like Manaea didn't want to have anything to do with Pillar. He had that base open over at first base, so it looked like he didn't want to pitch to him. That was one of those intentional, unintentional, intentional walks.
Well, we mentioned it. Manaea has given up 4 runs in each of his last 3 starts, to the tune of a 1-2 record with an ERA of 5.60. So he's had a little bit of a rough stretch lately. Russell Martin with nobody out. Two good pitches. Now Russell, of course, has a premium seat for the strike zone, both at the plate and behind the plate.
Can't go much lower than that. It's probably the bottom of the strike zone.
And I had that one get away from him. It's 1-2 now. Bob Melvin has been on the umpire for his strike zone this afternoon. So Solarte with the leadoff double. Pilar followed that with a walk. No score when the bottom of the 4th inning. The Blue Jays have been pretty good in staying out of double plays. For the season, they've grounded into just 25 double plays.
I think that's why he wanted to pitch around Pilar. It's very difficult to pitch around a leadoff double. Got a guy in scoring position. But it looked like he wanted to pitch around Pilar to set up the possibility of a double play. Then you give yourself a chance to get out of the inning.
Popped up over near the A's dugout and out of play.
Teams have been really keeping the ball down on Russell this season. He's had some trouble against secondary pitches. He's had trouble on pitches low in the strike zone. He doesn't chase. That's the thing. He has a lot of discipline within the strike zone. He's got one of the lowest chase percentages in all of baseball. So you're going to have to make pitches to get him out.
Ground ball up the middle. Pinder will step on second for one, back to first, and good stretch by Olson as Russell had a first-hand look at the foot of Matt Olson. He turned to the dugout to suggest that Olson may have been off the bag. Pilar is out at second, and they're going to have a look at the video. And now Gibbons coming out of the dugout. He wants to talk to the home plate umpire. He said, hey, we're having some more trouble. Now Bob Melvin is out on the other side saying, hey, what's the issue here? Remember, there were some concerns at the start of this game as to whether or not the video review phones were working correctly. And now Bob Melvin wants to come out and make sure that Gibbons isn't going to have that extra time. And you can see DeMarlo Hale's using a walkie-talkie to communicate with the video room.
Phone lines are down. Let's go walkie-talkie. Surprised a little bit. You know, you can't take that fielder out at second base anymore. So I thought Pinder had some time to catch the ball, step and throw to first base. Doesn't look like the Blue Jays are going to challenge this one. But he threw off balance there. And it almost cost him. Great play by Olson on the other side. I told you yesterday he's got some long arms and he can really stretch.
Well, the Blue Jays evidently felt like he still had his foot on the base before Martin got there. So now there are 2 outs with Solarte at third. Kendrys Morales at the plate.
Here's another block by the catcher with a runner at third base.
That's an interesting pickup. Ray Fosse, longtime Major League catcher, is a color analyst for the Rays, or for the A's TV broadcast. And he believes that catchers should be graded on their ability to block balls. He said we have stats for everything in the game, but we don't have stats for catchers blocking balls. It's a good point.
Yes, yeah, it's a positive stat also. Seems like all the other stats are all negative. Well, you know, catcher's ERA is high, or his framing position isn't very good, or he doesn't throw anybody out. Well, that's a positive stat. Blocking ball, he just saved his pitcher a run.
Yeah, and it's really, we talk about it all the time, oh, he made a good block, but you don't make note of how many times he does that during the course of a game.
With runners on base.
2-1 to Morales. Now it's 2-2. But Russell Martin, like Lucroy, does a terrific job of blocking balls on the dirt, and it saves pitcher 90 feet, whether it takes the offense out of a double play situation with a wild pitch. But it's a good point.
Those catchers, they look out for each other. You guys.
Ray Fosse certainly does.
Yeah.
2-2. Morales hacks it into the second deck foul. Kendricks had a stolen base in the second inning. It's his second stolen base in his last 14 games. He went 916 games without a stolen base. Now he's got 2. Breaking ball called, strike 3. So a very promising start to the inning. A double and a walk, double play and a strikeout end the inning. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio. The Blue Jays. He made 5 starts in AAA with the Buffalo Bisons, and you go back to the 4th inning. This shows you how he can pitch without throwing that 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, he's got all the pitches that you need as a starter, and he's putting it in a good spot. Curveball, splitter, fastball, some two-seam action right there. He strikes out the side in the 4th inning. He now has 5 strikeouts. His career high is 6. He did that twice. The last time he did it against the Oakland A's last year in July. So this afternoon, he's got it all working for him early on here through the first 4 innings.
4 scoreless. Both Manaya and Gaviglio throwing a lot of strikes. Dustin Fowler hacks at that first pitch. Fowler batting 7th in this lineup. Fowler, Lucroy, and then Chad Pinder, the second baseman. Ground ball. Solarte dives, gets to his feet in time. Nice play. That's another result of pitchers throwing a lot of strikes. You keep your infielders interested and engaged.
And they get, it just seems like, better jumps on the ball and make better plays. He was playing in the pole. You can see him to the right of your screen. He is anticipating that ball to his left. He had taken a couple of steps over that way. Second baseman can look in and they can see what the pitch is and where it's going to go. That can help them to get a jump on the ball. Solarte with a nice play.
Jonathan Lucroy grounded out to the first baseman his first time up. Solarte left his feet, gloved it, and makes a nice play in support of the pitcher. Grounded foul. Sam Gaviglio has thrown 60 pitches with 1 out here in the 5th. Thursday, check that, Tuesday at Citi Field, Noah Syndergaard threw 103 pitches to pitch 5 innings for the Mets. Tyler Solarte's glove into center field. He timed his leap perfectly. It was just beyond his reach.
Save big at the outdoor living event at Home Hardware, on from May 16th to June 5th. Here's how.
A rainy afternoon in Toronto, but the hot dogs are well protected under that umbrella. And you can bet he'll do a stiff business at the end of this game.
Good crowd.
Very good crowd. Upwards of 30,000 for sure. Gavilia comes right back with strike one to Chad Pinder. Ground ball, foul. Matt Williams, the third base coach, former manager of the Washington Nationals, and a terrific third baseman in his playing days, mostly for the Giants.
Spent some time in Cleveland. Wow, you want to build a third baseman from scratch? There he is right there. Power, soft hands, good arm, good hitter, intense.
0-2 to Pinder. Check swing. Gavilia made 5 starts in AAA. He did not have a decision, but he pitched very well during those 5 starts. His longest outing came against the Yankees AAA ball club. He threw 7 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, had 8 strikeouts in that game. In that game, over 7 1/3, he threw just 90 pitches. He's been efficient throughout his career, throwing a lot of strikes.
So he's stretched out. He's making this spot start, but he's stretched out. And he can go that normal pitch limit that we have seen this year.
Breaking ball line past Urshela into left field. A 2-out base hit for Chad Pinder. So back-to-back singles for the A's here in the 5th.
Curveball took a little something off, and not a bad pitch. That's twice now that we have seen the A's go back on a breaking ball, stay back. Good 2-strike approach and get rewarded with base hits.
Marcus Semien had a 2-strike double down the right field line back in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2. The A's have runners at first and second with 1 out. Another first pitch strike. Senwan O starts to loosen up. Semien is 2 for 7 in this series against the Blue Jays. Changeup. He lays off. Semien had his 7-game hit streak come to an end last night. He went 0 for 4 in that ball game last night. Lays off that breaking ball. They have pitched him away throughout his first 2 at-bats, and they continue that trend here in his 3rd at-bat. He's been a good clutch hitter for the A's this season.
Because he cuts his swing down, uses the whole field like he did last time, doubling to right center, or excuse me, down the right field line. It's a big inning. They've turned the lineup around.
Now, as the game has gone on, the home plate umpire starting to widen his strike zone, and now Bob Melvin has been on the umpire for most of the day. Shane Livensbarger, an umpire behind the plate. 2-2 pitch inside. They popped him inside and get a strikeout. Good job by Russ Martin. They had worked Simeon away and then saved that last pitch for a pivotal strikeout.
Yeah, and you don't have to throw it 95 miles an hour if you're effectively putting it in the strike zone. Everything goes away. This was about 87 or 88 miles an hour, and he's tardy. He's behind that fastball. He puts it in a good spot. That's called tying up a hitter right there when he can't extend through the ball. Well, Gaviglio's got to be able to move the ball around, and he's been doing that. This is the last at bat. Look at where all of those pitches are. Moving and down, 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 on the corner, and then pop that ball up and in.
Simeon strikes out for a second time. 6 strikeouts now for Sam Gaviglio. That ties his career high. Third time he has recorded 6 strikeouts in a game. Matt Joyce, the left fielder, is 0 for 2 so far. This is the 3rd appearance for Gaviglio since he's come up from AAA with the Blue Jays. Both of his games have been against the Red Sox, and previous high in pitches was 44 in his first outing over 3 innings when he picked up that win against Boston.
Still got some life on that pitch. That ball was moving. Those games that he pitched against the Red Sox were 6 and 8 days ago. So he's well rested. We saw him the other night throwing after the game down in the bullpen.
Thursday night he had an inkling that he might start this game, so he threw some after the ball game. 2-2 to Matt Joyce. High fly ball. Solarte, the second baseman, near the foul line, makes the catch in fair territory, and Gaviglio. A terrific 5-inning outing so far. A scoreless game. He has stranded 2 more.
Some progress with them. Randall Grichuk taking live BP, scheduled to begin a rehab assignment next week. Still slow for Steve Pearce. He's throwing flat ground but not hitting. Marcus Stroman, of course, dealing with shoulder fatigue. He is still not throwing but working out in Florida. Troy Tulowitzki on the 60-day DL, taking ground balls taking BP. He'll follow up with a surgeon next week. And fellow shortstop Aledmus Diaz, they'll assess him next week if he's to begin a rehab assignment as he recovers from the ankle. That's a lot of star power and a lot of salary not here in Toronto, guys.
Well, it sure is. Guys you expected to be playing as regulars on your team, especially with Tulowitzki, but he had the issues in the spring, had surgery. Now he's recovering from that. Aledmus Diaz was doing a fine job at shortstop. He had 5 home runs when he sprained his ankle down in Tampa Bay. Randall Grichuk hurt his knee making a diving catch here at Rogers Center.
Well, the good news is rehab assignments look like it's going to happen for Grichuk and Diaz next week.
Manai hits Smith in the back with the first pitch here in the bottom of the 5th. So the Blue Jays will have another leadoff man on. They had a leadoff double in the 4th, but stranded 2. Couldn't do anything with the double and a walk.
I know everybody's upset that Smith got hit, but that was a breaking ball, and he has had problems. We've seen him miss a couple of times with his breaking ball, where he just doesn't have the right grip and miss badly. This time it hits him right in the tricep on the right arm.
Giovanni Urshela at the plate. The A's aren't even thinking about a bunt here, as the Blue Jays don't have a sacrifice bunt this season. But they go to first base just in case Urshela might tip his hand. For Matt Chapman at third, he's not going to bite. He's staying back at double play depth. Off the plate for a ball. Urshela grounded out to the first baseman.
You can play hit and run if you want to. If you don't believe in bunting, and you mentioned they're the only team in the American League without a sacrifice bunt. But if you've got a pitcher who's around the plate like Manaea, and he's around the plate, you could try and play hit and run. The gamble is make contact, open up a hole on that infield. Maybe you can squirt one through.
Two and 0. Now, if you start the runner just gambling on Urshela making contact, you're going to create some movement on the infield if you start to runner Smith at first. He's not running. Fly ball deep to right field. This ball's got a chance. Get it, ball. Get up and gone. Giovanni Urshela with his first home run as a Blue Jay. He had an RBI single in the game last night, and he drives in the first 2 runs of this game this afternoon. Who needs to bunt?
Bunting's overrated. We knew they weren't going to bunt. Watching him yesterday take batting practice, he's got some juice in that swing. I think it's all a matter of timing for him. He'd been hurt early this year. He went on a rehab assignment, came to the Blue Jays, hadn't played for a couple of days, inactive. It's a timing thing for him. There's some power in that swing.
It's his 8th big league home run, and there's that changeup that he's thrown, and Urshela stays on it and drives it out to the opposite field. Urshela had 6 home runs with the Indians in 2015. He had another last year with Cleveland. This is his first as a Blue Jay.
He's got the leg kick, so you got to figure about that on the timing. Just make sure you get that leg down when you're ready to swing. If you're late, you're not going to have any power.
Sam Gaviglio now has a 2-0 lead. He got 5 innings in the book. Ground ball. Chapman at third gathers and fires across the diamond, 1 away.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by the Samsung QLED TV. See nothing else.
Junior Jay's Saturday, part of a Junior Jay's weekend, and the kids have a chance to win some prizes. And that young lady looks like she's won something and having a good day here. Here's Josh Donaldson, who's over 2. Good feeling for a player that has just joined a new team with a chance to contribute offensively. We mentioned he drove in the only run for the Blue Jays last night in that 3-1 loss. And Giovanni Urshela has given Sam Gaviglio a 2-0 lead.
And it looks like he's going to go back out there. Nobody throwing in the bullpen for the Blue Jays, so plenty in the tank.
Three and one now to Donaldson. Josh is over 2 this afternoon. His average down to 224. Now it's a full count.
We haven't seen the long ball from Josh for a while. I think it's about time for that, isn't it?
Since the doubleheader in Cleveland on May 3rd. He had a home run in each of those 2 games against the Indians.
He's capable.
Breaking ball inside. Donaldson walks. 3 walks now given up by Manaea. Well, Bob Melvin, he has had to use his bullpen a lot in the first 2 games. His 2 starters give him just 3 1/3 in total. Andrew Triggs was out of the game with an injury on Thursday night. Brett Anderson threw just 1 inning last night. They have both since been put on the disabled list. So he's got to be patient with his starter.
They had to make another roster move today because of Brett Anderson going on the disabled list. Ryan Dole's been called back.
He was officially optioned to the minor leagues, but obviously never left town, and he is back on the active roster in that bullpen for Oakland. Justin Smoke 1 for 2. We mentioned Manaea has had a tough stretch coming into this game. He had given up 4 earned runs in each of his last 3 starts. He got off to a great start. He allowed a total of 6 runs in his first 6 starts when he went 4-2, and of course that included that no-hitter against the Boston Red Sox. And at the time, no one was hotter than the Red Sox when he no-hit them.
Yeah, the Red Sox were what, 17-2, and just raking everybody.
Boston, another loss last night to the Orioles. One and 2 to Smoke. He hit a tough breaking ball to stay alive. Oh, what a good piece of hitting there. If he stayed on that breaking ball and rips it into center field, his second hit of the afternoon.
Coming into this game, Justin Smoke had hit .212 against the Athletics. The lowest average versus any single opponent. Well, he's got 2 hits today. That's how you get 2 hits. Plate coverage on a pitch down and away. Not a bad pitch from Manaea, but Smokey's able to go down and get some good wood on it. His second hit. We talked about Mania coming into this game averaging 13 pitches per inning. He's way over that today. The Jays have really made him work.
Yes, they have. He has walked 3. He hit a batter, Dwight Smith Jr., to start this inning, and then Urshela hit an opposite field home run. Urshela, all 3 of his RBIs he has gotten this season have been in the last 2 games. And there was Solarte, had a double his last time up. 2 on, 1 out. Donaldson walked. Smoke singled for a second time.
Josh was really dancing off at second base. Now they're going to creep a little bit closer to try and keep him there.
Donaldson has run successfully. Doesn't run often, but boy, he picks his spots very well. If he senses a pitcher is not paying attention to him, he'll take off. Solarte drills this one into center, and that's going to get down. Fowler plays it on a hop. Donaldson's coming in to score, and Solarte, his second consecutive double, has extended the Blue Jays lead. It's now 3-0.
Good hitters can hit good pitches where they're pitched. Remember his last time up, his double went down the left field line. It was a breaking ball that he hooked down into the left field line. This time, Mania says, I better stay away from him. Thinking about that double last time, so he stays away from him. What does Solarte do? Watch where this pitch is, away. So he's going to double to right center field. He's been swinging the bat, hasn't had a lot to show for it over the last week or so. We've seen a lot of line drives off of his bat lately. Now they're finally starting to fall in.
Had 2 hits last night. He's got 2 hits here this afternoon. The RBI, his 27th of the season, gives him the team lead. Infield is drawn in for Pilar. Blue Jays have put up a 3 spot here in the bottom of the 5th. Smoke with his second hit. Solarte also has 2 hits, second and third. Emilio Pagan, just called up during this series, starts to loosen up. Couple of big runs out there for Pilar. Just 1 out. Fly ball left field. This ball is going to hook foul and drop safely on the warning track. They talk about Sean Mania getting off to a great start to his season. You see what he did in March and April. His ERA just over 1. It's been a different story since May.
Yeah, some of the teams that he has faced in May, the Boston Red Sox, again, Houston faced them, and Seattle. He has given up 4 runs in each of his last 3 starts.
Another 0-2 pitch to Pilar. Fly ball. That's going to score a run. Smoke tagging at third. Solarte tags at second, and they'll both move up. Smoke comes in to score. Pilar picks up the RBI with a sac fly. It's a 4-run inning. The Blue Jays managed just 6 runs in the first 2 games, losing them both, and they have scored 4 runs here in this inning this afternoon.
Pilar had a sacrifice fly on Thursday against the A's. Picking up that run, that was an at-bat where he had to scramble. He was behind 0-2. Had to scramble back and get that ball into the outfield.
Off the plate inside. Russell Martin had to jump out of the way. 1-1 now to the Jays catcher. Sam Gaviglio ready to come back to start the 6th. Blue Jays have put up 4 runs in support of Gaviglio, each team with just 5 hits.
Another one out there. RBI opportunity.
Fly ball to center field, but it's going to be right to the center fielder Fowler. Martin hit it well. But a big inning for the Blue Jays, and it all started with the 2-run home run by Gio Urshela. His first home run as a Blue Jay. The Jays would score 4 runs and take the lead.
Sports break baseball's toughest record, the legendary 56-game hitting streak, with beat the streak. You pick up to 2 players every day who you think will get a hit. If they get a hit, your streak continues. If they don't, you start a new streak. Be the first to reach 57 games and win $5.6 million.
How about that young lady? She's getting a little baseball with a Blue Jay tail on it, and she looks like she's pretty well locked in, Pat. Like she's really having a fine day. Speaking of locked in, how about the starter, Sam Gaviglio, making his first start for the Blue Jays? No walks, 6 strikeouts through 5 innings. On 76 pitches.
Yeah, on 76 pitches. He's been in command. A couple of base hits last inning, but then he buckled down, got a strikeout and a pop-up.
Ground ball to short. Urshela has it. Across the diamond just in time. Chapman hustling down the line, made it close.
Boy, that's what you like to see. Your team scores 4 runs, 1 pitch, 1 out. Just keep pumping it in there.
For Gaviglio, this is his 14th career start, his 19th major league game. He has a 5-5 record. His career as a starter, he's 4-5 in those 13 starts. He's only thrown 21 balls. For his career as a starter, he's averaged 15.5 pitches per inning. And we've seen that this afternoon. We mentioned Sean Manaea leads baseball, averaging 13 pitches per inning coming into this game, but he's had a outing where the Blue Jays made him work. Chris Davis hasn't had a whole lot of fun to start this game.
Not with that breaking ball away. It looks like he's wanting that ball inside. He's opening up a little bit too soon. Blue Jays have picked up on that. They're throwing sliders down and away, and he hasn't been able to hit it.
And that crossed him up right there, threw one right over the heart of the plate. So now you got to think they're going to throw him another slider. At least that's what I would expect.
Off the plate, away. Here it comes.
He laid off. They left one on the inside part of the plate, and Davis rips it all the way to the wall in left field. He's headed for second. That breaking ball stayed over the heart of the plate, and Gaviglio gives up a one-out double.
That was the pitch he was looking for. Something on the inner half that was up. That will be his 9th double of the year, and Jay's lucky this one didn't leave the ballpark.
Got too much of the inside part of the plate. Ball doesn't break as it has most of the day. You can see it actually backed up. That's what you call a backup breaking ball, where it comes into the right-handed hitter instead of breaking away. So now the dangerous Matt Olson. He fouls it back. O is up for a second time. It won't take him long to get ready this time.
They will have commands down there. Okay, hey, starting the inning. Why don't you get up, start getting loose? If he runs into trouble, I want you to be ready. He wasn't throwing that hard. Oh, he was just kind of throwing to get loose. A little bit more firm after that double by Davis.
See how they set up in the shift. That's the shortstop Urshela. Behind second, Solarte is way out there in shallow right. Upstairs with the fastball. 2 balls and a strike. Olson had a sharp single into right field on a 3-1 pitch his last time up. Good pitch. We have talked about the stance of Matt Olson. It just begs for an inside fastball if you're pitching against him. He's got a 6'5" frame. He's got a lot of plate coverage, anything out over the plate, so you got to take a shot inside.
Yeah, and up, I think. Last time he got a base hit on a pitch that was down. 3-1 fastball. I think if you're going to go up and in.
Stephen Piscotty is on deck, and this might be the last hitter if Olson reaches. Bring in a fresh arm.
Yeah, I think he's giving it all he's got right now. Early in the game, those pitchers were right on the corner. Right now, he's struggling to get it to where he needs to get outs.
Gaviglio has thrown 87 pitches. He's got 1 out in the 6th. And he walks him. So John Gibbons is out of the dugout, and he's made the call to the bullpen, but what a good start for Gaviglio. He will leave the ball game with a 4-run lead. He can win it. He can't lose it. He is responsible for the 2 base runners on base, but he's pitched into the 6th inning. He has an out, 5 1/3 for Gaviglio in his first start with the Blue Jays.
Fans recognize the great effort this afternoon from Gaviglio. They started cheering before he was even taken out of the game.
Sam Gaviglio made 5 good starts in AAA. He's got a good one under his belt with the Blue Jays. He leaves with a chance to win. for the Blue Jays, and he was impressive in the outing. The only walk he issued was to the last batter he faced this afternoon with one out here in the 6th.
Total command and control into the 6th inning. Now it's up to someone O to finish it off. O pitched the first game in this series. The first batter he retired was his former teammate, Stephen Piscotty, and wouldn't you know, he's got him right here.
Piscotty has a single and a strikeout so far this afternoon. Oh, and Piscotty played together with the Cardinals.
Well, if he can get him to do what he did the other day, they'll get out of the inning. It was a ground ball to shortstop. If he can do that and hit it semi-hard, Blue Jays are going to be able to get out of this. Need that double play.
There's a good slider. Ball on a strike. Fly ball to right. Hernandez has room. He's on the warning track. Runners are tagging. Davis will move up from second to third. Olson stays put at first. Now there are 2 outs.
The 2018 Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
Saturday afternoon in Toronto, the roof is closed at Rogers Center. A bit of rain outside, and Blue Jays have a 4-run lead. They scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th. 4 runs on 3 hits, including a 2-run home run by Gio Urshela. Dustin Fowler has grounded out twice so far this afternoon. Two and 0. Gaviglio, a terrific outing. He ties his career high with 6 strikeouts. He walked just 1 batter. Gaviglio and not surrender a home run, and the A's came into this game having homered in their last 8 games.
Yeah, and he had given up 7 runs in 4 2/3 innings the last time he faced this team, so much better effort. Now the Blue Jays bullpen have got to shut down Oakland. They're a quick strike type of offense. With those home runs, they've had the most home runs on the road this year.
45 home runs on the road, just 14 at home. The Oakland Coliseum has always been a tough hitter's park, but the last couple of years we've seen the ball fly a little bit better out there. That's a pretty good pitch, and Fowler will take ball 4. That'll load the bases. So with 2 outs, it'll be the catcher Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy had a base hit to center field his last time up.
Been hitting the ball much better lately. Still hasn't hit a home run this year. But he's been hitting a lot of doubles.
Lucroy has 11 doubles. He has gone 1 for 2 this afternoon. He started the game on Thursday night and went 0 for 5 in that game. Well, Lucroy got a pretty good pitch to hit and fouled it straight back. The A's catcher has hit 3 grand slams in his career. He's got a pretty good batting average with the bases loaded. Good fastball up and away for strike 2. Blue Jays have lost the first 2 games of this series, trying to get back into the series with a win this afternoon. Outside.
That's a purpose pitch. Russell didn't want him to make a mistake. 0-2. So Martin set up way off the plate. I think that's where Lucroy likes the ball, away from it, where he can extend, hit the ball the other way if he has to. I think that's his strength.
Fastball on the ground. Smoke will go to the bag, and gets out of it. The A's get 2 walks and a double, but they strand the bases loaded. Sam Gaviglio in line for the win. The Blue Jays have a 4-0 lead. So it was 97 pitches. He had 3 walks and gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. The Blue Jays got to him in the 5th inning. They scored all of their runs in that 5th inning. Keyed by a home run off the bat of Gio Urshela, his first of the season.
Did a good job of running up that pitch count and got him out of there after 5 innings. Now onto the bullpen for Oakland. Emilio Pagan, first one out. 593 earned run average. He has given up a lot of hits. He throws hard. Got a nice, clean, athletic delivery, but he's a fly ball pitcher. And in this division, that's never a good thing. He's given up 20 hits in 13 2/3 innings this season.
Pagan has had 1 appearance against the Blue Jays. It was in relief. 4 innings, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Kendrys Morales reached on a fielder's choice and struck out.
Pagan represented Puerto Rico in the WBC, the World Baseball Classic of 2017. And a lot of fastballs from him. Fastball about 70% of the time, slider the other 30, and there's a fastball.
Yeah, Bob. This ball is deep to the wall in center, and it's off the wall. Morales is headed for second, and he will stop there with a leadoff double. Oh, he drove that ball to the opposite field. For Morales, that's just his 3rd double of the season, but that's an encouraging sign.
Fly ball pitcher, so you got to get the ball in the air, and that's what they've been trying to get Kendrys to do, to hit more fly balls. When he hits fly balls, they turn into extra bases when he hits them just right, and he smokes that ball to left center field. Fowler looked like he had a shot at it, but he comes up empty. That's how you take a high fastball and hit it the other way with authority.
Pagan began his career with the Seattle Mariners. He was a draft pick of Seattle in 2013. He was traded to Oakland for Ryan Healy. And Healy, of course, a big power hitter, much along the lines of Chapman and Olsen here in Oakland. Dwight Smith Jr. got hit by a pitch, and he scored on the home run by Urshela in that 5th inning. Good fastball in a tough spot up and in.
Yeah, he's got a good fastball. It's 95 plus. But it looks like he's pitching in the top part of the strike zone with it. Major league hitters can turn that around. Going to have to get that ball down.
Moranis holds his ground at second as Smith grounds out. Drive of the game brought to you by the new 2018 Civic Si. When it leads off, it leads for good.
Gio Urshela just came over from the Cleveland Indians. He is going to get the Blue Jays on the scoreboard by taking this ball away from him and hitting his first Blue Jays home run. Shows you the type of power that he has as he launches that to right field. First home run of the season. 2 more RBIs. That's this afternoon's drive of the game.
Urshela's home run, his 8th big league home run. His previous 7 came as an Indian playing for Cleveland. One out. Fastball off the plate a bit inside. 2-0. Popped up over near the A's dugout. First baseman Matt Olson is there. He makes the catch. So after the leadoff double, Smith grounded out to short and Urshela pops out. So now back to the top of the order. Teoscar Hernandez making his first start in 3 days. He missed the first 2 games of this series with a back issue. He played the 2 games in New York against the Mets, and on Wednesday afternoon in that rainy 9-inning game, he tweaked his back.
You got to be 100% sure, you know, if your back is bothering you, that you're okay to play. Because anything you do on the baseball field involves bending, stooping, twisting, turning. You'd hate to start your swing and have it in the back of your mind thinking about that. But this should be a good matchup for Teoscar. The faster the pitcher, the better he likes it. He can turn around anybody's fastball when he's healthy.
Chases that one out of the zone upstairs. A little over anxious. 0-2 now. The A's bullpen has been asked a lot of here in this series. Fastball in the same spot. Pagan strikes out Hernandez. The Blue Jays get a leadoff double and can't take advantage of it. We'll go to the 7th. The Jays lead 4-0. Inside the TD zone are guests from one of TD's community partners. Welcome to Rogers Center. So far, so good for the Blue Jays. They have a 4-0 lead thanks to a good start by Sam Gaviglio.
Yeah, 5 1/3 innings for Gaviglio. 6 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. His longest outing since last July at Houston when he threw 6 innings against the Astros. I thought he was impressive from the first pitch. Dotting his spots, putting the ball where he needed to, changing speeds.
The key to his outing success today, the fact he threw 20 of 23 first pitch strikes. He was ahead all afternoon. Chad Pinder, he's 1 for 2. John Axford loosening up for the Blue Jays. Another good fastball from Mo. Axford pitched an inning on Thursday night. Charged with a couple of earned runs on 2 hits over that inning. A couple of strikeouts against his former team, the A's. 1-2. Fastball lifted in the air toward the seats, and it'll reach out of play. Russell wanted it upstairs, and O delivers. Pinder strikes out.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now.
1 away. Marcus Semien, a shortstop.
The fewest pitches that O has used in an outing this year was 7 in an inning. That was against Seattle. The most he has had in an outing was his last outing a couple of days ago against these Oakland A's. 30 pitches to get through 2/3 of an inning. So a little bit sharper this afternoon.
Yeah, he had a rough outing, including a 3-run home run surrender to Matt Olson. Just really couldn't execute his pitches.
Better today. He's gotten 3 outs out of the 4 batters that he has faced. Good idea.
2-2 to Marcus Semien.
Stay up there. Everything has been up in the strike zone against Semien. Remember, the double he hit was a pitch down and away. So they have tried to stay upstairs.
He reaches for that slider, and it's a lazy fly ball into center for Kevin Pillar. 2 away. Blue Jays are a game under 500 at 22-23. They're 8 games back in the AL East. And, you know, we talked about it. Arash Madani mentioned the Blue Jays had a players-only meeting yesterday for the start of that game. And Josh Donaldson responded to that when he was asked about it. He says, yeah, we just felt like we were in a little bit of a rut. They had a tough game yesterday. They lost 3-1. As the bullpen and especially Josh Lucas came out and slammed the door on them, but much better effort today simply because they got a good start.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you got to keep playing. It's only the middle of May.
Fly ball deep to left field. Smith back out the track. He makes the catch right up against the fence. Matt Joyce flies out deep to left field. Oh, retires the side in the order in the 7th. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Donaldson, Smoke, and Solarte for the Blue Jays. Got to turn around and can't stare him down. They emptied the benches for no apparent reason.
Did he do his Brad the Animal Leslie routine? Remember that? He used to pitch for the Reds.
Josh Donaldson will lead things off here in the bottom of the 7th. Donaldson is 0 for 2. He scored a run.
Got a nice little cutting action on that fastball.
It's got a legitimate fastball for sure.
Josh has been seeing a lot of breaking balls this series from the Oakland A's. And he has taken his walks.
Fastball off the end of the bat. Pagan flips to first, and Donaldson is retired. One out here in the bottom of the seventh. Pagan was born in South Carolina. He was originally drafted by the Seattle Mariners. Played 2 seasons at Gardner-Webb, and then he transferred to Belmont Abbey College. And he was drafted out of Belmont Abbey College. 10th round pick of the Mariners in 2013.
How does a player, a pitcher who throws 95 plus last to the 10th round? Wow.
It has a lot to do with the place they play baseball. You know, scouts have different priorities as far as where you're playing. I know a lot of scouts discount junior college pitchers. The Blue Jays benefited from that when they picked up Nate Pearson out of a junior college in Central Florida. But they always look at the big schools: LSU, USC, UCLA, Cal State, Fullerton, Long Beach State, all those great baseball schools.
I don't know him that well, but maybe he wasn't throwing 95 when he was in junior college. Maybe he developed when he became a professional. I would think that that would be, if you throw that hard, in the top 5 rounds for sure.
Well, that's coming up in June, the first-year player draft, and of course the Blue Jays haven't had a whole lot of success lately over the course of their drafts. They've had some #1 picks, and they've had a lot of #1 picks going back to 2010, 11, 12, and they haven't really been able to hit on those #1 picks. They have a new scouting director. They've got Ben Cherington in place, who was so good with the Boston Red Sox for so long, and I know they're anxious to have a real good draft to build upon their development of the young players in the minor leagues. The minor leagues starting to get some players in it, especially at the lower levels.
About 5 years ago, they were in the bottom third in farm systems in baseball. They're slowly moving up, and you're right, they've got some major league talent in the farm system.
Now, Smoke has been on base 3 times today. He's got a couple of hits, and now he has walked. He's 2 for 3. It's a 4-0 game, and certainly Oakland, with all their power hitters in the lineup, they're well within striking distance, so you've got to add on if you can. And Ervis Solarte's got a pair of doubles this afternoon. That's a foul ball off the bat. Solarte checked his swing and just foul tipped it. Home run cut by Solarte. He's behind 0-2. Well, Ervis is starting to swing it a little bit better. He had 2 hits in the game last night. Got 2 more this afternoon.
If he wasn't loose before that swing, he's loose now. That was a home run swing. Now, the batting average doesn't reflect how well he's been hitting the ball lately. He's been hitting the ball hard. They made a couple of plays on him in New York that looked like sure base hits. Line drives right at the shortstop.
This is popped up into shallow left field. Matt Joyce coming in, and he makes the catch. 2 outs now. Kevin Pillar officially 0 for 1. He's had a walk and a sacrifice fly this afternoon. With the sacrifice fly, he drove in his 20th run of the season. Pillar's average has dipped under 300. It's the first time he's been under 300 since the 11th of April. "24 hits in his last 81 at bats, 12 extra base hits.
He's had a couple of pitches to hit in this at bat, and he's just fouled him back. When he's going well, he's hitting the ball all over the place. To right field, down the left field line, and he stays short to the ball. Got off to a great start last year. Just like this year.
Little pop-up behind first. Olsen giving chase. The first baseman makes a nice basket catch to end the inning. The Blue Jays strand a base runner. We'll go to the 8th. The Jays shutting out Oakland on 6 hits. John Axford coming into the game to start the 8th.
Solar powered, and that's also the Marcus Stroman Shimmy Wobble Bobble. Wednesday, June 6th, the first 20,000 fans will receive one of those. That's when the Yankees are in town to face the Blue Jays. 7:07 start. Question is, will Stroman be back by then or not? He is working out in Florida, Buck, but has not started throwing as he deals with that fatigued shoulder.
Well, they certainly would like to have him back at pitching like Marcus Stroman. He certainly hasn't had the start to his season we all expected. So John Axford comes in to start the 8th inning. He takes over for Sun-Hwan Oh, who pitched well.
Yeah, very well. An inning and 2/3. Now it's up to Axford. Ryan Tepera has thrown the last 2 games, so it looks like he is unavailable. So Axford will fill in that 8th inning role today. He's given up 5 earned runs over 21 2/3 innings. Lefties are hitting .088 against him, just 3 for 34 this season.
Matt Chapman, the 3rd baseman, takes ball 2, low and away.
Mentioned that he's given up 5 earned runs. 2 of them came the other night against this Oakland A's team, his former team. He hit a batter, then gave up a 2-run home run to Matt Chapman.
Axford pitched parts of 2 seasons for Oakland. 2016, he pitched all year, made 68 appearances for the A's. Then last year, he was let go by Oakland and decided that he wouldn't play the rest of the season. He had some opportunities, but none of them really were anything he was interested in. He was released by the A's on July 30th last summer. And he walks the first man he faces here in the 8th inning.
It's time to fire up your senses. Your best experience begins with Broil King, available at your local home hardware. Here's how.
Good thing the Jays have a roof here at Rogers Center. It's been a cool, rainy afternoon all day long. Leadoff walk to Matt Chapman. Here is Chris Davis. Davis rips it into right field. Chapman is going to head to third, and that ball will be cut off. So Chris Davis has 2 hits in his last 2 plate appearances.
What a series he's putting together. He had a hit yesterday. They had the big day on Thursday where he had 4 hits, was on base 5 times. Now 2 more hits. The sinker trying to get that ground ball to get a double play. Davis just goes down and digs it out.
Well, this is a very potent attack, and they are well within striking distance as Davis picks up his 2nd hit. Chapman goes first to third after drawing the leadoff walk against Oxford. Now Matt Olson. He's 1 for 2. He walked his last time up. Tyler Clippard starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Clippard worked on Thursday night. Pitched an inning, gave up a hit, walked 1 and struck out 2. Two and 0. The A's have hit home runs in 8 straight games. They've been shut out so far to this point, and Pete Walker wants to come out and have a chat with John Axford. Axford walked the leadoff man.
Maybe he has spotted something in his delivery. He walked the leadoff man on 4 pitches and now has fallen behind this batter. If you're the manager like Gibby right now, you can see he was looking at that lineup saying, okay, where's the tying run? Is he on base? Who do I have to match up if I need some outs here in the 8th inning?
Also with a mighty cut, fouls it straight back. 2-1 now. Whatever the message was from Pete Walker, Russell Martin was in agreement. Russell was standing there nodding as if to say, yeah, that's what I see too. Walker encourages Axford to stride down the mound and use that big frame of his. He thinks that that'll help him get into the strike zone more consistently. Now it's 3-1. We mentioned the A's have homered in 8 straight games on this road trip, and they lead the majors in home runs on the road. So they're never out of a ball game.
Never out of it. You got some home run hitters coming up. And don't forget they've got Jed Lowry on the bench today. Did not start this game, so Bob Melvin's going to pick the right time in case he needs his bat.
Lowry's hitting .328 for the Says with 9 homers and 37 RBIs, and he's a switch hitter. And you can see he's stirring around. He's got his elbow pad on.
He's got his sunflower seeds ready to go.
3-2 to Olson. Nobody out. Oxford strikes him out and got him to chase that high fastball. 1 away.
That's such a good pitch, but it's a hard pitch when you're working on that 2-seamer to get the ball down up in the upper parts of the strike zone. That's a 2-seamer and a huge strikeout.
You saw Martin holding the target down around the knees, elevated by Axford, but it's got enough velocity and movement that he was able to strike out Olsen. Stephen Piscotty's 1 for 3. Curveball missed outside. Danny Coulomb, the lefty, and Wilmer Font, the righty. Cranking it up for Oakland.
Yes, 95 with that two-seam action. If he throws a good one, he'll get his share of ground balls. This will be a great time for one.
Martin can't hang on to the foul chip. That fastball's got a lot of late life to it.
Yeah, trying to hit it is tough. Trying to catch a foul tip is even tougher.
There's a base hit to right field. Chapman's in to score. Davis is headed to third. Here's the throw going to third, and it gets away, so that'll allow Piscotty to move to second. That's an ill-advised throw from Hernandez. Concede the run. You don't have a shot at the guy at third, and now that runner moves from first to second on the throw. So Piscotty picks up an RBI. The A's are on the board here in the 8th. And John Gibbons is out of the bullpen, out of the dugout. He's looking down the bullpen. I don't know if he's made the call yet.
He already has.
But Tyler Clippard will come into this ball game in relief of John Axford. The A's threatening to get right back in it here in the 8th. Air of the season when he makes an ill-advised throw to third base. The ball gets away at third, and that allows the batter runner to move from first to second.
Yeah, and he didn't have to. Just concede the runner going to third base, or if you're going to throw to third base, keep it down lower. Hit the cutoff man. He really airmailed that one over the cutoff man's head. It bounced away, and that kept the double play from happening as he runs into second base, the batter. Now it's up to Tyler Clippard to get him out of this mess. Second and third, just one out. He's been great this year. 4-0 with a 117 earned run average. The strikeouts are up. I think they're going to ask him today to get 5 outs.
Now, John Axford, it's just one out. He struck out Matt Olson, a couple of hits and a walk. Second and third, one out. Dustin Fowler, he goes after the first pitch and pops it up into center field. Davis is tagging at third. It's not that deep, and Pillar's throw up the line. So Davis stays put at third base. Ball wasn't hit that deep as Clippard gets Fowler to pop out.
Yeah, and if you're down by 3 runs, the last thing Matt Williams and the Oakland Athletics want to do is run into an out. You got to be 100% sure that you're going to score on a sacrifice fly. The ball just wasn't hit far enough. Good job by Clippard to get that first out.
And here is Jed Lowry, who mentioned that Bob Melvin was thinking about a good spot to use him, and this is a pretty good spot here. He'll hit for the catcher, Jonathan Lucroy. A switch hitting second baseman will take a shot here with 2 outs. He's got 2 runners in scoring position, and he's had a good series. Lowry had a pair of doubles in a 2-hit effort last night. He had an RBI double when he went 1 for 4 in the opener on Thursday night. So all 3 of his hits have been for extra bases in this series. Big production from Lowry. 9 homers, 37 RBIs. He's in the top 10 in runs driven in. Clippard has been so valuable because it doesn't make any difference if you have a switch hitter like Lowry on your bench. He has neutralized both lefties and righties.
I asked John Gibbons, you know, who do you think can close out ball games now with Roberto Osuna not here? And he mentioned Clippard because he can get left-handers out. He could neutralize him with the changeup or his split finger fastball. Either one.
Lefties are hitting 163 against Clippard for the season. Right-handers, they haven't fared any better at all. Right-handers hitting 147 against Clippard.
Yeah. He's got the pitches to get people out. I don't care if you're lefty or a righty.
Lowry's been as clutch as anybody this season, batting .340 with 25 ribbies. There's a changeup in a fastball count. Three balls and a strike. Clippard spent some time with Oakland. 2015. He actually picked up 17 saves in 37 games while pitching for the A's. He walked it. Lowry takes a tough changeup for ball 4. That'll load the bases.
Well, one way you take the bat out of his hands, just don't give him anything good to hit. He's a good hitter. He didn't want him to beat him. He's going to have to take his chances now with Chad Pinder.
Pinder is 1 for 3 at a single in the 5th inning. That was off Sam Gaviglio. Bases are loaded for Oakland. Fastball misses upstairs. Pinder's never had a hit with the bases loaded, and Clippard would love that to continue. Ground ball pulled foul. We mentioned that the A's were a dangerous ball club. They can strike anywhere in their lineup. Pinder has 3 home runs, and Bob Melvin and the ball club just stayed close to the Blue Jays. They finally broke through here in the 8th inning. Stephen Piscotty had an RBI base hit to right field. Fly ball deep to right center, and this is trouble. This ball is going to go. A grand slam home run for Pinder. His first base hit with the bases loaded.
Wow. You take the bat out of Jed Lowry's hand. You take your chances with Chad Pinder. And the A's have scored 5 runs now in the 8th inning. They've got the ability, like you were saying, to strike at any time because they hit so many home runs late. And the A's have taken the lead.
With all the home runs they've hit this season, that's their first grand slam. They have now hit in all 9 games on this road trip. They've hit a home run.
Tyler's been having trouble getting that fastball down this inning. And that's a high fastball out over the plate.
First career grand slam for Chad Pinder. This is the best road home run team in baseball. 46 home runs now with the Pinder grand slam. And they have homered in all 9 games of this road trip. And those 9 games have been played against the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays.
Yeah. The American League East, where they've had a lot of success this year.
Coming into this game, they are 10-4 against the American League East. Breaking ball hit into center field, and that's going to get down for a base hit. Marcus Semien with his second hit of the afternoon, and all of a sudden the A's have 10 hits. You take a look at the A's record against the American League East, and they've done a terrific job. They've hit .251 as a team, scoring almost 5 runs a game. They've outscored the American League East teams by 15, and they've out-homered them by 7.
That's the one that really surprises me. We talk about the American League East teams stacked. Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Baltimore. Stacked offensively with power, and the A's
goes
have hit 'em.
Semien. The throw from Russell is in the dirt. It skips into center field. Ballison was covering second as Urshela is over to third. So it'll be a stolen base for Semien, his 4th of the season, and another air charge to Martin, his 4th as well.
They don't steal very often, or they don't attempt to steal very often. That's going to be Semien's 4th. Why not take a chance? They're in the shift. Clippard is slow to the plate. They take advantage of that as the ball bounces by Donaldson.
That's the 35th stolen base the Blue Jays have surrendered this season. That ties them with the Mets for the most in baseball. And the A's have picked up another stolen base. Dustin Fowler's had 2 steals in this series, his first 2 stolen bases of his career. There's a strike. It's 2-1 to Matt Joyce. Deck McGuire loosening up in a hurry. Joyce is the 9th A's hitter this inning.
Fastball. Again, he's having trouble getting it down. Been so good this year, but Pinder drills it to right field into the first deck. The A's have come all the way back. And unfortunately, it blows a great start by Sam Gaviglio. 6 hits, no runs.
Well, Bob Melvin did a good job of saving Jed Lowry. He used him in a pivotal at bat, batting for the catcher in the 8th spot in Minnesota. Lowry worked Clippard for the walk to load the bases. There's a long drive, but well foul off the bat, a bad choice. So Lowry did not start this game. Bob Melvin says, I got a pretty potent weapon on the bench, a switch hitter that's hitting .328. So he had an opportunity with runners at second and third. He put Lowry up there, and Jed Lowry drew a walk that loaded the bases. He was batting for the catcher, so you could see Josh Fagley loosening up in the dugout. Clippard strikes out Matt Joyce to end the inning, but the A's score 5 runs in the 8th inning to take the lead. It's 5-4 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddall in the Samsung broadcast studio. In to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning now, with the A's leading 5-4. Oakland has out-hit the Blue Jays 10-6, and they've hit another home run, a grand slam home run by Chad Pinder.
Yeah, the difference in the game. Here's another hard-throwing righty out of that bullpen for the Oakland A's. Torino's 2-0, 0.59 earned run average. He's averaging about a strikeout per inning. Big fastball. He's hit triple digits before on the radar gun. And we saw him on Thursday. A couple other changes for Oakland.
Josh Fagley in behind the plate because Lowry hit for the catcher, Jonathan Lucroy. So Jed Lowry stays in the game at second. Fagley is in the 9th spot for Chad Pinder. Well, the Blue Jays now playing catch-up. Russell Martin will lead things off. Trevino pitched on Thursday night. Went an inning and a third, allowed just 1 hit. Russell Martin did not face him in that game.
Hard fastball, and there it is.
Deep drive to center field. Fowler right at the wall, holds it in. Russell Martin doesn't have any luck at all. He hit that ball hard.
Well, it's a 1-run game, so the outfielders are going to take a couple of steps back They don't want anything over their heads for extra bases, and I think that helped Fowler to run this ball down. Fastball, and Russell gets all of it to right center field. But look how close he is to that warning track. Gets there, hauls it in right in front of the wall. That's earlier in the game. It's over his head for extra bases.
Kendrys Morales hit a double to the power alley in left center his last time up. That was off Emilio Pagan, the only hit that Pagan surrendered in his 2 innings of work. Hard cutter at 92 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's got that. They've got some arms in that bullpen.
The Oakland bullpen has pitched very well against the Blue Jays so far in this series. We mentioned coming into this game they had pitched a total. The starters have pitched a total of 8 1/3, including the 5 innings by Manaea today. So the relievers have had to step it up. Fly ball to center, not that deep. Fowler is there, waits on it, and Morales is retired. 2 fly ball outs here in the 8th. Danny Coulomb was the winner of the left-handed reliever. Pitched an inning and a third. Walked 1 and struck out 3. Josh Lucas had 7 strikeouts in his outing over 3 2/3. He allowed just an earned run on 2 hits, but punched out 7.
They've had to pitch well because their starters have been knocked out early with injuries.
Managers. Treinen, the closer, was really good when he came into the game.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a chance to see him if the score stays like this, but that's the worst nightmare for a manager, is your starter going out. Not once, but twice in 2 days.
Back-to-back games. Trip Gibson down at third, calls it Smith for the swing. Blue Jays scored 4 runs in the 5th, and the A's scored 5 runs in the top of the 8th. The A's are in the midst of a 10-game road trip through New York, Boston, and Toronto. And they are ahead in this game. They would win the first 3 of this series if they can hold this lead.
They lost the series in New York, won the series in Boston. Bob Melvin won the first 2 games in this series. See Curtis Granderson waiting his opportunity.
Foul ball just outside of first. So the A's are 5-3 so far on this road trip against a tough AL East. They have the best winning percentage in the majors against the American League East Division. They're 10-4 at this point. Curveball is in the dirt. It's a full count. Blue Jays have managed 4 runs on 6 hits. That's been it. Got a 2-run home run from that man, Gio Urshela. Tyler Clippard gave up the grand slam home run.
You can see Granderson in the background grab his helmet now. If he gets on, we might see a pinch hitter.
And there's ball 4. They went with a breaking ball. Let's check in with Arash Madani.
Bottom of the 8th here at the Rogers Center. For those looking to watch the Memorial Cup and Swift Current at Caddy Bathurst, it is now on Sportsnet 1, the opening game for both the champions of the Western Hockey League and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Sportsnet 1 for the MasterCard Memorial Cup.
So Gio Urshela is out of the ball game. He had a good day. Had his first home run as a Blue Jay. He finishes up 1 for 3 and turns things over to the veteran Curtis Granderson.
Curtis has already had a walk-off home run. He also had a big home run in Baltimore late in that ball game. So you play the percentages here. You try and take that slider away from Lou Trevino by sending up that left-hander. And Curtis Granderson can work the count, get himself into a good fastball hitting count.
He is 3 for 9 as a pinch hitter with a couple of RBIs. They're going to let Granderson swing in this situation. That's why they're sending him up there. They don't want anybody to run into an apple. Takes a first pitch strike. Credits for his career, a .247 hitter. As a pinch hitter, he has 3 career pinch hit home runs. Broken bat, little pop up, and that's going to be it. Marcus Semien makes the play in right field. Trevino gets out of it. We'll go to the 9th. Oakland has a 5-4 lead. Deck McGuire coming up.
Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. It's the best time to find a Honda you love.
We go to the 9th inning. It's 5-4 Oakland. On an overcast day here in Toronto. And the Blue Jays will have a new pitcher. Deck McGuire will make his second appearance for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Deck pitched in that rain game, if you will, in New York very well. 3 1/3 innings, 4 hits, and called back up after Jaime Garcia went on the disabled list. That's how he has been able to be called right back up. Richard Urania will come in and play shortstop after Urshela was pinch hit for.
Matt Chapman is 0 for 3 with a walk. He started that inning in the 8th inning with a leadoff walk. Blake Trinan, the big closer, loosening up for Oakland. Trinan picked up his 9th save of the season last night. There's a fly ball to right. Ball right on the edge of the warning track. One away.
I mentioned McGuire pitched in New York. It was the first game, the game that the Blue Jays lost 12-2. And in that game, I thought he pitched really well. Then he ran the bases. And it looked like he got tired going first to third and running. Went, picked up his glove, and he only got touched up in that last inning, that 8th inning. Gave up 3 runs. But overall, first time pitching for the Blue Jays, the team that originally drafted him. I thought he pitched really well. Showed a good curveball.
Chris Davis, he got out to a slow start this afternoon. He struck out each of his both of his plate appearances, struck out on sliders both times against Gaviglio. Then he had a double in the 6th and a single in the 8th.
You know, the thing about Deck is he comes in and throws strikes. He's got all 4 pitches. He's been a starter his whole life. He's going to be pitching out of the pen for the Jays, but he's been a starter his whole life, so he's got all those pitches. And he's not afraid to throw them at any time. There's that big curveball.
Another strikeout for Davis, the 3rd time he strikes out, and a good curveball from Deck McGuire.
In that outing against the Mets, 3 1/3 innings, he had 3 strikeouts. That's his first draw. That's a lot of spin and a lot of break on a curveball.
Matt Olson, he struck out in the 8th inning. It was the first out recorded by John Axford after a leadoff walk and a single. And Stephen Piscotty got a base hit and an RBI. That knocked Axford out of the game. Tyler Clippert came in. He got a pop-up for the 2nd out of the inning, but then he walked the pinch hitter Jed Lowry, and that set up the grand slam by Chad Pinder. The ball is lined into the seats down the right field corner. Deck McGuire, the 4th Blue Jay reliever to work this afternoon. Sun-Won Oh went an inning and 2/3, walked a batter and struck out a batter. And Axford and Clippard, they both had their issues in the 8th. That's popped up a mile high. Urania, the shortstop. Now Donaldson takes it, as that ball was up there forever. Also was almost at second base when the catch was made. Deck McGuire retires the side in order in the 9th. Here comes Blake Trinan, top of the order for the Blue Jays. They're down by a run. They'll face the closer. Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership. Well, the Oakland A's have brought out the big bats again today. Today it was Chad Pinder with a grand slam in that 5-run 8th inning. The first grand slam the A's have hit this season, the first hit for Pinder with the bases loaded in his career.
And that has set up this. Blake Trinan, the closer. He is 9 for 11 in save opportunities, 9 saves, 4th in the American League. He picked up the save yesterday with a clean 9th inning. Fastball with a lot of movement, slider.
Top of the order for the Blue Jays, Hernandez, Donaldson, and Smoke. Two and 0. Josh Phegley into the game defensively in the 8th inning, as the starter Jonathan Lucroy was lifted in favor of the pinch hitter Jed Lowry in that 5-run 8th inning. The Blue Jays need a base runner. They trail by a run. Teoscar back in the lineup after missing the first 2 games of this series because of a back issue. Smoke is in the hole. Donaldson is on deck.
That's that hard slider. He was guessing fastball and he crossed him up and threw him a slider. Blue Jays have their best hitters coming up. Here's that tight slider for strike 2. This is the first time that Teoscar has seen Blake Trinan.
Checked his swing, and Brian Gorman confirms that. It's a full count now. Trinan throws in the upper 90s, but he'll use that breaking ball in fastball counts. He's got confidence in that slider as well.
I think you've got an excellent fastball hitter at the plate. So I'm not surprised he's been throwing him sliders.
Trinan is making his 5th career appearance against the Blue Jays. He is 1 for 2 in save opportunities, but the Blue Jays have hit him in the past. They've got a home run against him. There's that good fastball, 98 miles an hour, right at the knees.
He's also had 6 saves this month already in May. 98 with movement. Look at that. That is hard to get the ball in the air. He doesn't give up many home runs.
Josh Donaldson. Josh is 0 for 3. He walked and scored in the 5th. Donaldson is 0 for 9 in the series. Boy, that's closer stuff if I've ever seen it. 98 with a wicked breaking ball.
He was originally drafted by Oakland, traded away, and then traded back last season in that big deal. A couple of big league pitchers Sean Doolittle, Ryan Matson going to Washington. Blake Trinan coming back.
Donaldson hits it hard, but right to the shortstop. Simeon throws him out. Blue Jays are down to their last out. Well, we mentioned the A's. They were a dangerous team, and if they stay within striking distance, they can score a bunch of runs. That's exactly what they did in the 8th inning. They put up a 5 spot in the top of the 8th, and they have a 5-4 lead.
Never out of it, are you? When you can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Justin Smoke. He's had a couple of hits today. He's got 2 of the 6 Blue Jay hits.
Now they're going to be very careful. I told you, Trinan doesn't give up many home runs. In 236 games, he's only given up 17 home runs in his career. 282 innings. Tough to get the ball in the air.
You mentioned Trinan has 6 saves this month. That ties him with Shane Green and Wade Davis for the 2nd most saves in the month of May. Brad Hand of the Padres has 7. Hand is 7 for 7. Good take by Smoke. He lays off that breaking ball.
I'll tell you, Smoke has seen the ball. He has been taking some tough pitches this whole series and just laying off of those pitches just off the plate.
There's another good example of that. He takes that breaking ball inside. It's 3-1.
Change with some sink on it. Took a little something off his fastball with some serious sink. You see Justin asking if that ball was a strike.
So now it's a 3-2 count. There are 2 outs and the Blue Jays are down by a run. Smoke has 6 home runs this season. 2 of them have come in the 7th inning and later. He walks. Threw him a fastball that missed outside. So Smoke has been on base 4 times this afternoon.
They wanted to go inside, it looked like. A little swing back fastball. But that one was just off the plate, and he just put the bat down. He's going to be pinch run for over at first base.
So Luke Maile will take over as a pinch runner at first. Obviously, you want a little more speed at first if there should be a ball in the gap. With 2 outs, Maile will be off on the crack of the bat. So in Ervis Solarte, he's had a pair of doubles today. They came in the 4th and 5th innings. Where the outfield is up against the fence. Oakland playing deep, no doubles.
Look at that. The Fowler, the center fielder, way deep. And Piscotty in right field. That's not necessarily balls over their head, because balls over their head are probably going to leave the ballpark. They are deep for gap shots. Left center field, right center field, or down the line. Cut the ball off and get it back to the infield so that runner at first base can't score.
Trinan's ahead now, 0-2. Joe Biagini will start tomorrow afternoon. Solarte strikes out, and that's the ball game. Blake Trinan picks up his 10th save of the season, his 7th in the month. He is tied now for the most saves in the majors in the month of May.
And a really good start by Sam Gaviglio goes wasted. He pitches into the 6th inning, didn't give up a run. O was very good, but the Blue Jays lose a game late to Oakland. Oakland with that home run power just kept pecking away, and they waited for one shot to win it, and they got that one big hit.
Another home run on the road for Oakland. They now have 46 home runs. We'll be back tomorrow as the Blue Jays try to salvage the final game of this 4-game series. Now here's Blue Jays Central with Jamie and Joe. Thanks for watching, folks.